Welcome. The topic of this video is how to add parts into inventory. Now, this video is going to go through how to manually add parts one by one to the inventory. A separate video will show you how to use the convert.uni program to import Excel files, CSV files, and text files. So I'm going to start by going into Inventory Management, menu selection D as in David, and then number 1, add part numbers. Now, the first thing that it asks me if I go into a system that has a multi-store scenario going on is which store do I want to add or do I want to use for the manufacturer. We have a manufacturer file that is a separate file in your system. And this is saying if this is a new manufacturer, do you want to add it to only the store that you're adding this part for, or do you want it to add it to all stores? Unless you specifically want to keep your manufacturer file very clean and only have the manufacturers for the store, manufacturers that are applicable to the store that's selling the product, I would suggest using the All Stores button underneath. It doesn't hurt anything. It adds the manufacturer file into every, it adds this vendor into the manufacturer file for every single store. So I'm going to click on the All Stores button. Now the easiest way and the fastest way to add a part into inventory is to simply type it in right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a part called DUG, and then the part number is GLUE1, and I'm going to press the enter key. Now I'm hoping that this comes up, because if this message comes up, that means my part is not yet in the inventory. So I'm going to say yes, I want to scan for it, and what's happening is the system is looking through my inventory to find the best location for this part number. If this is the best location, all I need to do is press my enter key, get down to the next line, and type in my part number one more time. When I press the enter key, my part has now been added to my inventory, and all I need to do is press the escape key to exit out of this screen. Now in the case that I was adding a part number into the system and I typed in a 51515 and I press my enter key, notice that my cursor goes straight to the new number field. That's because the part number that I was trying to add already exists in the system. I do not need to type it in again. I do not want to type it in again, and I want to make sure that at this point I just hit my escape key and exit out of the screen. I'm going to go back into the screen one more time. And I'm going to type in DUG GLUE2 and press my enter key. Again, my record is not found. This is good. This means that my part doesn't exist in the system yet. I'm going to say yes. And notice that it's put me in that DUG GLUE1 area. But the buttons at the bottom will allow me to scroll around the screen if this is not where I want that to go. So perhaps I want to put this part in a different location. I can use the F1 and F2 buttons to scroll around. Notice that my prior and my following are changing. Find the correct location where I want to enter this part number, and then do so, again by pressing my enter key and typing in GLUE2. Hit my enter key, and that part now exists in my inventory. Now there's one other piece or one other process that I can use if I want to actually add information about the part number right from this screen. I'm going to type in the part number that I want to add, DUG GLUE3, and press my enter key. And yes, I want to scan. Instead of me entering the part number here, I'm going to hit the home key. I'm going to press home one more time. You see the home to command button. And then I'm going to press my F9 key, which says data. When I do that, you'll notice that my cursor is back up at the part number area, and a whole list of information that I want to use to fill in for this part number is available for me. So at this point, I'm going to type in GLUE3. I'm going to press my enter key, and now each of my fields can be populated if I'd like to right from here instead of me having to go back into the inventory record. So I'm going to press the enter key. I'm going to type in GLUE-3. Do I have an alternate part number for this? If I do, I can enter it here. If I don't, I can simply press the enter key to pass by this. My list for this is $10. My retail is $9.50. My dealer price is $9.25. My stocking dealer is $9. My jobber is $8.50. I don't have a core. My cost is $5. And I don't have a core cost. That's what CCS for my particular system stands for. I've received 5, so I'm going to say that my quantity on hand is now 5. And I always want to keep it above 2. So because of the way that my purchasing works, I'm going to set up my min field to be 2 and my max field to be 2. My category is GLU because I've set up my categories in this fashion, and my class, I'm not entering a class, so I'm just going to press the enter key. At the bottom of the screen, you'll notice my buttons that have changed now say Command, Tab, Add, Exit, and Help. So I'm going to click on the Add button, and what this did was it added that part with all of these settings into my inventory. So when I hit the Escape key and I go into 3, Display Alter Part Numbers, I'm going to type in my clerk code and type in my part number here. Notice that all of the fields that I wanted to populate now have data in them. Where if I look at my previous part number, the GLUE2, which I set up earlier, I would have had to leave that screen, come into this screen, and populate all of the fields that I wanted to populate. Either way is just fine. Either method works. It's simply what you would like to choose to do. Now, if I go into the Add Part Numbers area and I want to add additional fields to that screen, all I need to do is hit Home, Home, and F9 to access this screen. And perhaps I have another field that I want to enter. So in the new part number field, I have to put something just to get down to the bottom of the screen. So I'm just going to type in some junk. I'm not going to save this part number. And then I'm going to down arrow to the bottom of my list, and I'm going to add unit of measure. I want to make sure that my people are filling in what the unit of measure is when they're adding new part numbers. Now, because I'm not saving this part number, at the bottom I'm not going to add. I'm simply going to press my home key so that my cursor gets all the way down to the bottom of the screen, and I have a couple of other buttons that open at this time, including the button that says Save. So when I click the Save button, now each time that I come in to set up a new part number, my unit of measure code field is going to be available for me to populate as well. If you have any questions with this or you need any assistance, please call SBC at 800-829-4722 or email us at sbctraining@autolog.com. Thank you and have a great day.